This time around, we are here to go over how to make our turns. I'm going to show you two different ways. The first one is how to make a wide turn, and the second one is how to make a tighter turn. This one will probably be the most step involved video, just because you do need to make specific shapes in order to cut to make your turn, because when you go to tape these, they do need to be specifically cut and get this shape out. So I'm gonna go through that with you today. So as always, you need your ruler, your pen or pencil, you will need some tape, and of course, scissors. As you go through, you will need a strip of construction paper, and you're going to make 1 inch long columns like this. And I've already done that. The next thing that you're going to want to do is create these little markers. So I used a centimeter to measure these out. So I just went ahead with my ruler and I marked out whenever there was a centimeter. And I did that through the entire strip of paper. In order to make a wide turn, you need to separate the pieces that you will be cutting. These shaded in areas is what you're going to cut out, so you get this type of shape here. And I'm going to make this a wide turn, so I need to make sure that my in-between is thicker than the actual cut that I'm going to make. So what I did to make these is I numbered out, I counted 2 centimeters, I shaded in 1 centimeter, I did another 2 and 1 and so forth. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this strip out just so I can show you. So I'm here, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm going to dot this part here because this is where I'm going to make my triangle shape. And then I'm going to shade that in. Now you're going to want to do that all the way throughout. The reason why I am shading these in is because I'm giving myself an indicator, right, of what I'm going to cut once I'm done creating my markers here. Now, when you make the turns are the most tedious ones to make, just because you do have to be very specific with your design here that you're gonna cut out. And then lastly, this one here. I'm not gonna bother drawing there, but I do still have to do the triangle. So let's make sure we do that. And this gets cut here. Okay. Okay, so once you have your strip, you are then going to start cutting each triangle. And as you cut, you want to make sure that you are going completely all the way to those creases, like so. Alright, so now I have my strip. I'm going to fold each of these over just to make sure that my crease stands out. And I'm going to do the same thing with this part down here. Going to crease that right there, because this part is what I'm going to tape together. There we go. All right, so now you should have something that looks like this. Okay, so now the track that you're going to be doing is, how did I do this? Okay, so you're gonna start taping like you did with your spirals or your straight tracks. You're just gonna start taping it. Take some tape, and in this case I'm going to make sure that my cut here is lined up and that this is placed over. There we go. And I'm just going to fold this little piece of tape over here, and I'm just going to keep doing that. Now, one thing that I'm starting to notice is that this here is starting to buckle. So I'm gonna very carefully take my tape out, and I'm going to re-tape it, because you want the sides to touch up like that instead of bulging out like this. Because the marble, as it rolls through the track on the inside, can get caught and therefore not work. So you want this as flat as possible. Okay. Again, you are dealing with tape and paper, so just make sure, be very careful. Let's see if I can try to undo this half here. There we go. Okay. Now you want to make sure that each side is very, very flat against each other, or as flat as possible. And there you go. There we go. So now when the marble rolls, it's not going to get caught in any of these grooves. So this is one way to make a turn. If you would like to make the turn where the walls are facing up, I'm going to show you now how to do that using the same track. So you could have your turn where the track is flat, or you can have your turn where the track is sticking up like this. There we go. Personally, I like when my track is has a wall up like this, because sometimes when we do this version here where the walls are down on one side, the marble goes way too fast and loses control and comes out. So depending on how your trials go, you may want to make this where your walls are actually staying up. So you're gonna put these two together and you're just gonna take them. And there you have two ways to do a wide turn. Again, I personally prefer where the walls are up like this instead of a flat side and a wall on the exterior. So I'm going to carefully remove this tape, and I will be doing the entire turn for my roller coaster. Let's see if I could take this off without breaking it. There we go. Again, very slowly take that off. And this tape, I won't be able to take it off, so I'm just going to fold it over. go. So it is taped, and then I just tape up the walls. One thing that you want to do here is overlap the tape so it does not come off. So I'm going to hold these two pieces together, and I'm gonna overlap them with my last piece of tape. For the sides, I am using a little bit of a longer piece of tape. That way I can cover more of the sides. And there we go. We have a wide turn. Kind of looks like the letter C. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is a thinner turn. So for your tighter turns or thinner turns, you're going to want to do the same thing, except you want to make your cuts a lot smaller. So you're going to want to do a little bit more and a lot smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this over to my other side. And I'm going to draw these lines in just so you are able to see them. Okay, and I'm going to go back in and mark my little centimeters here. Okay. So now for this, I'm not going to start on the end. I'm actually going to start one in, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So I have my cuts, and I'm going to make these dashes up here in the middle section, and I'm going to do my triangle, shade that in to remind me that this is what I'm going to be cutting off. Now, instead of skipping 2, I'm only going to skip 1 and go straight to this one right here. So make my dashes. Make my little triangle up here. Shade that in. So as you can see, I am making this, instead of 2 pieces apart, I'm making them 1 apart. This triangle's a little messy. That's okay. It's getting cut out anyways. Feel free to fast forward if you're watching this. Alright, so now once you have all of your little shaded in areas, you're going to go ahead and start cutting those out like we did with our larger turn or wider turn. Reminder here that you are only cutting to that crease right there. Try not to cut past the crease. So you can take these little scraps, recycle them, and now you have your track ready to be created into a tighter turn. So we're going to do the same thing as we did last time. We're going to take this bigger piece and we are going to just fold the crease. We're going to do the same thing to these ends here. Make sure that they are very folded. Okay. Now you can do the same method as last time. You can tape them all together or tape the base of this and then tape up the wall so you can have a nice wall. So I am going to make sure that my wall is up so that when my marble travels through it at a high speed, it does not fall out. Okay. Oh, this is a very small piece of tape. Nonetheless, I'm going to use it. Okay, and make sure that these sides stay up. And I'm just going to tape each end to each other. Now, make sure that when you are taping this, you are making sure that each side is touching each other. Remember that if you do have any of these not being flat, then your marble can get stuck on that edge and not function properly in your roller coaster. Okay. So as you can see, you are now starting to form a tighter turn. For this part, I think I'm just going to use longer pieces of tape. I find that longer pieces of tape make it a little easier when it comes to making sure that your track is all together. However, sometimes it doesn't work the way you think it will. Oh, okay. I'm gonna end up cutting this piece. So if you end up getting into a little pickle like I just did, where your track rips, just trim the piece of tape and you can put it on the back side just as a form of support. And that will hold the tear in place. Okay. All right, and so you're just gonna continue through, making sure that you are taping each piece to each other, making sure that it is flat. Okay. And now you want to tape your walls together so that they can stay up. So I'm actually going to do that from the back side. Okay. And there you go. I'm just gonna trim this little piece off. I don't want it. And there you have both types of turns. So you have your wide turn and you have a tighter turn that you can, you know, take your track, take your straight track, and, you know, you can just attach